And we are back taking all the questions you have about bankruptcy. Give us a call here on LawCall, 850-392-1544. And again, it's Brian Connors here with Michael Wynn, just answering any questions on debt consolidation, bankruptcy, creditors' rights, things like that. We have another caller in, Luis, I think is her name, if I heard correctly. If we can go ahead and put her through. Okay.
We all know that Bankrupt it's went bankrupt. If you had an account with them, and now that they've gone bankrupt, can they still keep billing you?
Well, that is another perfect question here for Mike Wynn. I think I know the answer, but I don't want to say anything too wrong. I'm guessing the trustee takes over their assets and tries to collect payments, but I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, so that's a great question. Great initial answer too. So Luis, thank you so much for sending that question our way. And the Badcock bankruptcy is one that's really unique as well. In that case, they are still trying to operate some of the stores, and those accounts that you have would constitute accounts receivable, which is property of the estate, which the trustee or the debtor in possession, depending on where that case is in the process, would have the obligation to collect. Now, here's the reality. Is if it's an old Badcock loan and you still have the collateral, but perhaps you haven't paid on the debt for a while, the likelihood of them coming after you for that debt at this juncture may be a lot lower. Now, I'm not telling you to just automatically default to see if anybody comes and repos whatever it is you bought from Badcock, but that does absolutely have an effect. But just because they filed bankruptcy doesn't nullify or change your obligation to pay, because typically what would happen is that asset and that bulk of assets would be sold to another debt collector to generate revenue for the Badcock bankruptcy estate. So would definitely say that you still have an obligation to pay. And if you want to address how to handle that obligation, obviously that's what we're here for as well.
No, and are they, and I know nothing about the Badcock furniture bankruptcy. Is it Chapter 7 where they're trying to liquidate everything, or are they trying to reorganize?
So what happens with a lot of these companies, right? So Badcock was a popular one. One of the ones that's real personal for folks around here is Enviva. If you own a pellet smoker, you're a customer of Enviva. They were the largest wood pellet producer in the world. Or Red Lobster.
Of course you know that. Oh,
right?
I love their cheddar biscuits.
Their cheddar bay
that's
biscuits.
Closer to home here.
Right. But so all of those cases, they file a Chapter 11 because it allows them the ability as a business to decide what you want to do next. And so for any business owners out there, I'll use this as a segue. There's a lot of options that you have in bankruptcy that I would strongly suggest having a conversation with an attorney such as myself if you're dealing with cash flow issues, if you're dealing with some financial issues out there, because if you go into a reorganizational form of bankruptcy such as a Chapter 11, you have the ability to see what you can do when you're not having to make all of those monthly debt payments, right? You kind of get to hit the pause button for a minute and see what the business is able to do. And then some businesses liquidate. So Badcock is liquidating a lot of its stores. Red Lobster liquidating a lot of its stores. Enviva is actually coming out of bankruptcy and is going to reorganize. So don't worry, your pellet smokers are safe.
I'm sure everybody was very concerned about
they
that.
probably were, but the bottomless shrimp at Red Lobster, no more.
I heard that's one of the reasons that actually affected them going into bankruptcy. People were eating too many shrimp at a discount.
It's even better than that. So for all the folks at home, this is like your funny, weird story you got to hear from a bankruptcy lawyer tonight. One of the things that tanked Red Lobster is that they were part of a scheme to dump subpar shrimp from a Taiwanese shrimping company, and they did it through the endless shrimp promotion, where I think they lost, like, on average somewhere between, it was like $12.5 or $18 million a year. And they kept doing it because they were in too deep with this Taiwanese shrimping company that was running Red Lobster for the benefit of creating losses. There's your fun business fact for the night. Go try and repeat that to somebody else.
Okay. Did not know that part. I'm learning something here on LawCall.
Always adventurous and informative here on LawCall.
You talked about being proactive earlier. When should, I mean, obviously, if somebody's in financial distress, consult with a bankruptcy attorney to see what the options are. But what about businesses who are doing great right now? Yeah. When should they take steps to be proactive. Is that something you do, something you
Absolutely.
recommend somebody reach out to make sure they're protected, their assets are protected, and just know what their options are in the event something catastrophic happens?
No, absolutely. So a bankruptcy lawyer, especially if, again, to my business owners out there, whether you're a small business or you're a large corporation, a bankruptcy lawyer should usually be one of your first phone calls you make if you're dealing with cash flow issues, if you see that you have maturity dates coming up on loans and you're not sure how you're going to be able to make those payments. Call and talk to me first. My best clients are the ones that I actually don't have to file bankruptcy for, right? Because I'm able to help navigate those waters and say, hey, listen, let's do this. Let's move over here. And whatever you do, please don't go take out those types of what you think are loans. And this is where I'm going to pause and give a quick spiel.
I knew you were about
Listen, you
you're welcome.
softballed me up.
I got you right in there.
So whatever you do to the business owners or people out there who are dealing with cash flow problems, run away from MCA position lenders. These are the merchant cash advance lenders, and I'm using lenders. One client of mine called them leg breakers because what they are able to do is they don't lend you money. They buy your future business. They own your business, and then they charge you rates of interest that are what anyone else would call usurious.
They'd be predatory.
Yeah, they are.
These were loans.
If they were loans,
and
they tell you they are investors, but it is the death toll for a business when you get into the grips of those MCA lenders, again lenders, because they will take every ounce of cash flow you have and put it in their pocket until they bleed you dry.
Well, what's the actual decision they need to make if somebody is in with one of these? I'm going to say MCA lenders because I don't know the term.
Let's call them MCAs. It's
Once you get in there and you realize, oh, I made a mistake, what are their options?
Call me. That's it. Bankruptcy is the option. And I don't say that to try and get everybody out there with an MCA to call me tomorrow, but there's really your options with an MCA is you either pay them, and you've got to pay them a ton because it's all the interest plus the principal, right? Or you got to take them out in bankruptcy. They don't go away otherwise, unless you can find some sort of larger package refinance. But unfortunately, most people who are taking out those loans are doing it from a place of desperation. That's the real unique thing about this type of law is a lot of it is seated in the psyche of the business owner, of the person, because it's driven by fear. And so they're afraid that they're not going to make payroll. They're afraid of filing bankruptcy. They're afraid of talking to a lawyer. So they go online, find somebody who says, we can help. And they drop money in their account, and you have no idea the amount of bondage you just put yourself into. It is the most insane thing that we allow as a country to exist financially.